It's a great day to talk hockey on Habscast. Yes, indeed. Every day that the Montreal Canadiens play hockey is a great day. I am joined by Rick Springhetti at work. Short notice again, Rick, and your microphone may not be 100% because you didn't have your you didn't bring your microphone to work. So apologies if it's a little difficult to hear him, but we'll trudge through here. And so big game tonight, Rick. Every game's a big game, I guess. The Canadiens are playing a Calgary team that's lost 6 straight. They'll be hungry at home. They'll be hungry to end that streak tonight, won't they?
Yeah, I think Calgary's not exactly a dominant NHL team, but I don't think they're quite as bad either as their record. And then the guys like Kadri seem to really get motivated when they take on the Habs. I know that's one of his favorite teams growing up, and so there's always and I don't know if Huberdeau's back yet. I'm not fair on that one. I didn't take a look, but if he's back in the lineup, he's going to be excited to have a huge game too, I'm sure. So these are trap games, and Montreal can't fall into the trap. And they got a few guys who are, one French Canadian young man who's going to be playing with a lot on the line tonight for the Habs probably. So that somebody like Joshua, if he does get into the lineup, will be motivated because it's a career. It's a career thing. It's not just a quick call up, but he really has to show something in the NHL level if he wants to be eventually an NHL regular.
Yeah. Okay, don't steal my thunder here. Yeah, Josh, sorry, who did you say could be back in the lineup? I didn't hear that first part.
Oh, I was wondering if Huberdeau was going to be back in the lineup. I know I think you had missed the start of the season, and I just wasn't sure if he was coming back yet.
Yeah, I think Calgary's fairly healthy right now, but let's just bring up their last 6 games. They started the year, they beat Edmonton in the shootout, but 6 straight losses. And the one thing that stands out, Rick, in those losses is lack of goal scoring, right?
Oh, boy, yes.
1, 2, 3, 4 games where they got 1 goal, 2 games where they got 2. They need to start finding the back of the net. And I think that's going to be the main issue with the Flames this year is just maybe not having much elite offense. And it'll be interesting to see who the Canadiens start in goal. Have you heard any word yet? I guess it's a little early, right? And that seems to be the big question, right, these days. Who do you come back with tonight if it was up to you?
No, I think if you recall last year, Dobes had some really strong games versus good teams, right? I think he beat Florida in one of his first games, if not his first one, and I think he did really well versus Vegas and things like that. And I think the next game is versus Edmonton, and they're going to be hungry. I think right now the way the season has started, you kind of get a double advantage with going with Monty. He's struggling, and it's also kind of as the first goaltender, it is his turn to play. So why not just put Monty tonight and go with that and see how that works out and give Dobes the big game versus Edmonton, which is tomorrow, I believe. And I think it makes sense to me in goaltender usage.
Oh, Rick's audio is terrible. Yeah, LPB. I guess you missed the start there. I did qualify that Rick's audio would not be perfect. I gave him like 15 minutes notice to come on. He's at work during lunchtime, and he didn't bring his microphone with him. So apologies to that on that behalf. But put on your headphones and turn your volume up to 11 as they did in Spinal Tap, and everything will be great.
Oh, Spinal Tap reference. Now I'm really happy.
Maybe my favorite movie of all time. I haven't seen Spinal Tap 2 yet. Have you seen it? Or
no, I'm scared to watch it.
it would spoil maybe the first one, right?
Right. I think
The
so
way
too. We'll see.
that's the way I'm looking at it. But yeah, okay, there, Stefan Waite. You think Monte should be back in nets? Let's. You'll understand what I meant when I bring this up. Stefan Waite last night. This is from Habs Reddit, by the way. A great Twitter feed if you want to check it out. Lots of good Habs stuff there. Stefan Waite on Andy Chamber last night. Every 1 out of 2 games that Jakob Dobes is not there. For me, Sam Montembeault would play the next 3 out of 4 games. Yeah, I don't know what Stefan was smoking last night, but hopefully it's legal. And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what he's talking about. Right now, Monty, 1 out of every 1 game is not there. So do they want to win or do they want to appease French media, I guess? Because I mean, what other reason than that would he say that like it's a weird comment to come from him right now. Dobes is one. I'm talking there. Just give me a sec. The people can hear me a little better anyways, Rick. So I just don't understand where he's coming from. Like 1 out of 2 games. Since the preseason, I think his Dobes' save percentage is .970 or something like that. He's had 5 fantastic games in a row. So, and also, he's a huge reason why the Canadiens even made the playoffs last year. When he came up and he was put in the lineup, he had like 5 great starts in a row. So it wasn't 1 out every 2 games. Yeah, he struggled a little bit a little later on when he after his hot start last year, but you ride the hot goalie as a rule, and right now he's the hot goalie. Yeah, I understand they're probably going to come back with Montembeault tonight. I would think he'll probably be the guy that goes in net, but I don't know. I found that to be a bit of a biased comment. Right now, Dobes is playing great. I don't. I would give it to Dobes, but I understand why they come back with Monty again. He's the starting goalie. They say, well, right now he's the starting goalie, but if Monty struggles again tonight, I don't give him, and Dobes comes in the next game, which I fully expect. I expect Dobes to play at least one of the next 2 games.
Sure.
And if Monty struggles tonight and Dobes is good again the next game, I don't give Monty 2 out of the next 2 games, because that would be 3 out of 4, right? I think they got to split at the very least. If Monty's in tonight and he's not great again, I think they have to split the next 4 games. What do you think?
Yeah, I think so too, and I think a lot of it is he's talking like a goaltender coach who's protecting his goaltender. He's protecting his veteran. He's protecting his younger goaltender, and he's trying to overcoach. I think sometimes coaches overcoach sometimes and worry too much about a goaltender's age and all those things. You see a psychology of Dobes. He's cocky. He's got some swag to him, and he doesn't mind challenging people. So I don't think that too many games will worry him too much. I think he could handle it. I think he could handle big games. And as you said a few times, and as we both talked about, Habs are not in development stage anymore. We're in the winning stage, and people, the players have to change their mentality and kind of understand that and say that my job is no longer assured just because I'm the veteran. Right now, we got to win games, and if Dobes is the guy who makes you win games, Monty has to accept it and realize that it's a long season. Maybe in a month Dobes is going to cool off, and Monty's going to get really hot, and he'll take a whole bunch of games. Don't let's not get all freaked out and annoy either one of them. The true number one. They are both good goaltenders. They could both take on a lot of minutes, and whoever's the hot hand, ride them for a while. They did it last year when Evans was really hot. As a forward, he played a lot of minutes, a lot more minutes, and then he cooled on, and they brought him down a bit. And I think it's the same thing with the goaltender, in my opinion.
Yeah. You're definitely being a little more diplomatic than I was. I just, sometimes I just wish that, there was a little more objectivity sometimes with the media, that like Dobes is playing great. And to say that he's not, I don't get it. And anyways, I disagree with Stefan Waite, but I agree with you. And so that's a good thing for you, Rick. Now, let's how long are we into this? 10 minutes? You got a few more minutes, Rick?
Yeah, I got a few more minutes.
Okay. Let's have a look at Joshua here. He started the season. He got the call up, obviously. Here's a look at his goals. He scored 3 goals in 4 games, and has looked pretty good. I had a quick look at his shifts. I think the significant thing that I noticed in his stat line was that last game he played over a minute on the PK. Now, last year, he did not have a single shift on the penalty kill. So that tells me, and there he is with an empty netter. So one of his goals was an empty netter. What's he doing on the ice protecting a lead, Rick, with a minute left? That tells you that his coach, Pascal Vincent, is trusting them, right? So
right, 100%.
That's a good thing. And then putting him out on the PK as well. Like Wah showed up, we all saw the clips about his strength and conditioning coach talking about how hard he worked. Here are his hits, by the way. Wah mentioned last game that he's playing more physical. So I went back and had a look at his hits, and I liked this shift from him. He was all around the net. He was physical. He's right about that. He's going to the dirty areas with a little more vigor than perhaps in the past. So I like that aspect of his game. Now, here he is again, going to the front of the net. That guy had about 6 inches in height on him, and he, rubbed him out there, which is the right play. Here's another.
Oh, nice.
Here's another. Even knocked the guy down. So
yeah,
he's playing with a little more, I think, physicality, and he gets I think he's getting the message that, look, if he makes the Canadians, it's likely going to be in a bottom 6 role, and he's going to have to play a complete game. Now, his two-way game improved a lot his last 2 years of junior, and he played defensive role with Canada at the U18, at the World Juniors. He played on a third line role, and I thought he played well defensively. So he can do that. And I think last year he got a little, I don't know if it was he expected to make the Canadians, and he maybe didn't get in the best shape last summer, and just couldn't keep up with the pace quite as well as he needs to at pro hockey. But I think he got the message in the off season. Didn't make the Habs, but was better. You could see that he was skating a little better. Has started the year trying to play a full two-way game, and he's getting rewarded for it. I think this is his last kick at the can with the Canadians. Like, he'll be waiver eligible next year.
Yep.
If he doesn't make the Canadians, they'll have to try to send him down, and I don't know that he would clear waivers. There might be a bottom feeder that would take a chance on him. So what do you think? Do you think this is maybe his last golden opportunity to show the Canadians that he can play at the NHL level for them?
Well, it's definitely to show the NHL level that you can play in this league, right? because I don't know if there's a spot long term for him in Montreal. To be honest with you, I don't think there's at his age and with the players coming up, there's really a lot of depth in this organization, and he's aware of it. I think he knows that, being a little bit older, and there's a lot of young talent that's really pushing, and they're going to keep on pushing. So maybe it's the Habs, but I think it's more somewhere else, and this is opportunity to show. Because the thing for me is that watching players in the American Hockey League, I don't think opposing GMs will look at that and be all over that, being really excited about it. I think they want to see what you can do in the big league, especially when you're more of a depth player. This is an opportunity to show everybody what he can do, and it's going to help the Habs too, because I think he's better suited to play that third line, fourth line role. Not to say that Beck hasn't played well when he got called up. He was reasonably fine, but I think Brock can do a little bit more, especially off the wing. On the cycle game, you showed some great clips, Grant. He looks stronger. He looks like he's battling a lot better. I think it'll work better with guys like Valeno and maybe even Budze to create offense off the cycle and down low. So all these things I think are gonna work out. But I think he's got to really approach it to say that this is an audition for the Habs and for the rest of the NHL. And this is one of his last opportunities, because you know the way it is, Grant, right? It was never about the skill with Josh. It was never always about the approach, the off ice training, how hard he works. Even in there was issue with him in the queue at first with I think it was St. John, that he was really overweight. It got better when he was in Sherbrooke, and then last year he had the camp where he kind of approached it like a veteran who's getting ready to start the season in the big league, instead of a youngster who's trying to fight for a spot in the league. And so he's got to show that he's really matured, grown up, and really understood the assignment, that it's got to be a constant effort in his sense. So if he does those things, he'll either get himself a job as a depth player with the Habs, or at least gain interest from other teams in the NHL, because he's got the talent, right? I believe he was a first overall pick in the queue when he was in Dobes. You know what he could do. You know that there's a lot of teams that could use a guy like Joshua in their lineup, and you'll have interest, but he's got to show that he's willing to do what he does to play in the league and to stay consistent,
Yes.
and really be on top of things.
Yeah. Well, I think he probably got called up because I think Laine's injury is more serious than maybe first thought. Like, I think Beck got called up to kind of replace Doc. But Roy, being a winger, was called up because I have a feeling that the injury to Laine might be long term, and I'll get into that. Rick, it's 17 minutes in. I bet you gotta leave. I'll get into the Laine thing there. I really appreciate you dropping by for a segment, and next time you're on, we'll make sure you got an external mic that maybe helps. But I heard every word. I hope everybody else could. And great analysis as always, Rick. By the way, Rick is the chief amateur scout for Recruits Habs Cast. So looking forward to your scouting reports throughout the season as we get rolling here, and you get a little more time freed up. Thanks, Rick.
Thank you very much, Grant. Have a great day.
Bye. You too. Thank you. All right. So that's Rick Springhetti, and he's got to get back to work. But Laine, it's been I have got some. I've heard through the grapevine that Laine's injury last year. They were calling it a knee sprain, but it was most likely, from what I hear, a tear, ligament tear, and he chose rehab for 3 months, or whatever it was, something like that, because he wanted to come back at some point in the season, but surgery was definitely an option. I mean, he would have put him out for the rest of the year, but now is he having some issues, relating to that? once you tear a ligament, it can it can become a problem again in the future. Just because that one shot of him sitting on the bench where he didn't get up. I had joked that maybe it was because of injuries, but what if what if his knee was really bothering him and he just sat there, he didn't play the rest of the game? What if he's re-injured that knee? Obviously, when they said lower body injury, uh, I wonder if he hasn't re-injured the knee, and that it might be, they're not saying anything right now other than he didn't make the road trip, which again is a bad sign. I think he's out for a while. Maybe he's out. He might be out for the season. He might be out long term. So they brought up Joshua because they need to, they need to replace that scoring that Laine was hopefully going to provide. They could use another point producer on the power play. I would not be shocked if Roy gets the call tonight and they play him on the second power play and give him a really good opportunity to see how he looks right now, how he's if he can replace some of Laine's offense on that second power play, maybe get it rolling. Demidov and Roy, two pretty skilled and smart offensive hockey players. They're they might click on the power play. So I would not be shocked if Roy is the guy that gets in the lineup. Yeah, Veleno looked good his first game, not as much in the second, but Roy certainly offers you more offensive potential, it's safe to say, than Veleno. He's got more offensive hockey sense and better playmaker, better at creating, better shot, better finisher. So I hope they give Roy a good look. I wonder about Laine. I wonder if he's maybe out now. It's interesting, anyways, that Beck got sent back down. Roy came back up, but Roy has earned it from all accounts. He's played. He worked hard. He's even getting on the PK, as I was saying. So I think he's getting the message that he has to play harder away from the puck, and the offense has never been an issue. So let's hope it comes through with him. Pierre Gingras, what a fantastic opportunity for Roy. Hope he finally grabs it and run. Yeah. Thank you, Pierre. That's a great point. Now let's see here. We appreciate you, Rick. Merci. Yeah. Thank you, Rick, again. Yeah, the audio wasn't great, but you could hear it. Hey, we're going live here on short notice, and there's going to be the odd technical difficulty. I don't know that this was really warranted. Again, I gave him short notice, and he came on. And by the way, we fixed the video quite quickly last time. These are free. So I mean, what do you want for nothing, right? For free. There's going to be. We've only been doing this 6 weeks, and every now and then you're going to run into a glitch. Hey, the podcast that I used to do, with the former network that I worked, we had a lot of fuzzy. We had a lot of times when the camera was fuzzy or glitching or freezing. So, these things happen in the podcasting world, and I hope you can be patient with it. Anyway, as I did. I apologized at the start with Rick's audio, but I wanted him on for a few minutes. I asked him at about, I don't know, 11:30 if he could come on. So I'm just glad that he did, and he could spare a few minutes, even if the audio was a little muddy. Thanks again, Rick. Ron Williamson, exactly. Great for you both doing this, Grant. Okay, I appreciate that. Let's get a few comments here. Oh, Rick, thanks for the kind words and for understanding, folks. I love talking hockey with Grant, and all you guys are just amazing to interact with. Right on, Rick. Appreciate you coming on, and your comments, as always, are great and spot on. Let's see what else we've got here. LPB says they should give Dobes at least half the starts until Monty finds his game and gets up to speed, coming back from a significant groin injury, a double tear, I heard. Oh, okay. Well, if that's the case, then it should be Dobes playing more often anyways, right? And I mean, if he outplays Monty, I would give him significant time, more time than Monty at this point. Monty had a groin injury his last playoff. I'm sure it affected his summer training. Dobes had a much better summer than him and looks definitely more ready to start the season. There you go. Well, that's good to know. See, when you do a live podcast, you get these little inside scoops at time. I appreciate that, LPB. I can't verify that, but I'm sure that that's probably the case, and it maybe explains things a little better. I hope they put Dobes in net tonight. Still hoping, as it is the most winnable game of the next two. Yeah, that's a good point. I think they still consider Monty the guy, and maybe they want him to go up against the Oilers, right? Right now, I think I'd look at it the opposite way, but yeah, that's a good point. RR comes up with another. He's got the important stuff. Nice haircut, Grant. Yeah, we got rid of the wings there. Razor does a wonderful job. Didn't cost me a cent to get my haircut. I haven't paid for a haircut in a few years. Going bald has its privileges, or has its positives. Spend a lot less on haircuts, that's for sure. Let's just gaze through here a little more. Not sure what all, but yeah, Laine, I don't know. I think that he might be out long term, as I say. Tonight, big game for Kapanen. That line, I don't know if there's going to be any changes. Typically, after you win, you don't make a lot of changes. Struble and Hudson probably back together again. Jack-Eye with Carrier, and the big pairing, the first pairing of Dobson and Matheson. Yeah, Matheson, of all the games, the last two haven't been his best, I guess you could say. There were a couple of hiccups here and there, but I still think on a whole, he's been excellent so far this year. And having Dobes as a partner, I think, has really helped his game. And those two are playing fantastic hockey right now. Slater, as I call him, Slater 69. Kirby Doc looks like he will be back in lineup as he was at practice. Now, I don't know that first practice likely back Um, I don't know that he'll be in the lineup tonight, but it'll probably be soon. If they brought him on the road trip, there's a good chance he plays, but I don't know that one practice, signifies that he will be back in the lineup tonight. So, it is just me, but I would give the tough start to Monty and push him this way. Monty is very strong mentally, having been through a lot in his pro career. That could be possible. I thought Slater Cuckoo. Yeah, yeah. That's, I mean, I thought that was obvious. I brought it up. Cuckoo was wondering why anyway, I thought maybe that's where you got the name, it's a nod to Slater Cuckoo that you call yourself Cuckoo. So it's easier to say, and I'd rather say Slater than Cuckoo. I hope that explains it. What do I think about the 2026 draft class so far this season? Well, you know what? I am just getting back up into, I'm just getting up to speed on this draft class. I have really been focusing on the Habs. I'm doing a daily Habs cast, and most of my prospect watching has been Habs prospect watching so far. So honestly, haven't taken a deep dive and haven't even been talking much to my scouting brethren. I don't like to ask them about players unless I've been looking at them myself. So November is when I'm going to start to really dive into the draft class. But I just, being dedicated and it's it's hard work and a lot of hours trying to scout 500 draft prospects or more a year, and I'm not doing that this year because so much of my time's being spent on the Montreal Canadiens with the Habs cast being launched. So I will look at prospects, and it won't nearly be as in depth this year as in previous years, but I'm not going to talk too much about guys until I'm up to speed, and that's going to take a little while. I would think that probably mid-November or so, but I do have an announcement to make, by the way. Next Wednesday, I'm going to have a special guest on who is going to see Keaton Verhoff live this weekend, and that would be Simon Snake Boisvert. Snake has agreed to start to come on the Habs cast on Wednesdays, as many Wednesdays as he can. I don't know if it'll be every Wednesday, probably every second Wednesday, or one out every 3 or whatever. But I'll talk prospects quite a bit, and so I'll have to get up to speed, obviously, when Snake comes on. And Snake and I have a passion for the Habs and even more so for the draft. And so this will give me an opportunity. It'll be my impetus to get rolling on the prospects. I'll watch those games of Verhoff and form my own opinions on how he looked. I mean, it won't be as informed as Snake's opinions, given that he's going to go see him live for 2 times. But I've got my CHL pass. I'll be going to 67's games. They seem to be on the road. Like typically every start of the year, they're on the road just about every the month of October. Typically they just about every game is on the road. So I don't really ever get to see many prospects live in the OHL till the teams start coming in November to Ottawa. So stay tuned for Snake and I. We'll have some good conversations. I'll I'll ask him about, does he think that, still think that Cole Caulfield's a one-trick pony? I've been told that he doesn't think nearly as highly of Kapanen as I do. So I'll ask him about, I'll ask him some pointed questions like why, what he doesn't, the concerns he has with Kapanen versus what I think. So I think it'll be a really fun conversation that's Simone and I have next Wednesday. He's very diplomatic and great as a guest, and it'll be fun to have a good debate, healthy debate with Snake next Wednesday. So I hope you can tune in at that point. Let's see here. Yeah, so people are all over here. We got different opinions on Dobes. Give him this tougher start against Edmonton. Well, yeah. I mean, there's different ways of looking at it. Like Dobes's confidence is very high right now. So do you throw him? Edmonton is going to be hungry, right? They've been on a losing skid lately. Well, I mean, they won in overtime last night, Ottawa, but they haven't been playing well and scoring many goals. I think McDavid and Draisaitl will be hungry. Do you want to risk curtailing that confidence that Dobes has accumulated early in the year? Monty is the more seasoned vet at this point. They may look at it the other way and think, we'll start Monty in that game. But on the other hand, too, what's it say to Montembeault if you come back with Dobes 2 straight games? Does it, does that affect him in a negative way? So it's not an easy call tonight. I think they'll probably go with Montembeault tonight, and if he struggles, they'll go with Dobes in the next game. If he doesn't struggle and has a good game, you might see Monty play 2 games in a row. And Stefan Wade, I know, was a little hard on him at the start, and maybe he's right that Dobes gets 3 out of the next 4 starts, but I disagree with his reasoning, it being that Dobes, only 1 out of every 2 games is good, because it's just false this year anyway. I get that he can be inconsistent, but boy, oh boy, Monty is inconsistent right now. It's a pot calling the kettle black. So anyway, we'll see, but start Monty in an easier game. Well, right now he's the guy that needs to get his confidence up, right? So, and also he's the de facto starter till something changes, and so yeah, they probably come back with Monty for the Calgary game and hope that they he only gets about 15-20 shots. He only lets in a goal or 2, or gets a shutout, and it springboards him. They want both guys on top of their game. Ideally, both are playing as well as they can. So, yeah, I think that they probably start. I think they probably start Monty tonight, but we'll see, right? We don't know yet. LPB Snake has repeatedly said he sees him as a 4th-line center. Grill him politely, of course. Yeah, well, I mean, maybe he will only be a 4th-line center. I try not to get too emphatic one way or another with projections on guys. I think he's a middle line center all day, but I mean, I'm not I'll ask him about that for sure and get his reasoning on it. He might have a little different perspective, especially if Kapanen scores another one. If but next Wednesday Kapanen has 5 or 6 goals, it's going to be tough for Snake to justify saying that he only has fourth line upside. He might, I mean, just as Snake kind of changed his opinion on Hudson, he and admitted that he was wrong, that he's not just a gadget player. And I'm not sure, I haven't heard what he said about Caulfield since saying that he was only just a guy that, I was on a podcast with him and he said all he does is just stand at the side and score goals. I'm going to ask him about that too. I haven't heard, if he's adjusted his opinion on that, but I'm sure he has. And hey, kudos to him to admit when he's wrong. I try to do the same thing, and it's just it's a sign that that you don't mind admitting that sometimes hey, we all alter our opinions. If you're not a stubborn mule, we all alter our opinions on players if they, if it's obvious that they've changed or improved, and that your original opinion might have been a little off. So I like that's one of the many reasons why I like Snake, and why he's I'm looking forward to him hopefully being a regular guest on the Habs cast. He's a good addition. A luxury third center like Anton Lundell would be the dream. I find Lundell and Kapanen to have a lot of similarities, actually. I don't know that you need, but yeah, Lundell's great. But he's not, Florida's not giving him up, that's for sure. I guess if Kapanen is our fourth line center, this is Chris, we are in good position, I'd assume. Yeah, well, yeah. It's, I'm not saying never say never. If a year or two down the road, Kapanen is the fourth line center, then it means that the Canadians are super strong. I mean, look, if they pick up Sidney Crosby, just for instance, right? And, Doc keeps finding his offensive game and finally starts to reach that top 3 pick potential, then Kapanen down the road will be fourth line center on the Canadians. And they'll be a contender, like a legitimate contender. So, I'm not ruling out the possibility. I think the only way Kapanen is a fourth line center is if the Canadians pick up like a Crosby and Doc, reaches his full potential. But wow, imagine having Kapanen as your fourth line center down the road. It would be quite a luxury. Personally, but he is so good at center that you don't want to change him to the wing. But, if they did pick up Crosby, maybe, Kapanen ends up playing on the wing somewhere in the middle lines. But yeah, again, I'm not saying that it's an impossibility that Kapanen down the line is Montreal's fourth line center, but I don't know, to be playing middle line center at 22 as a rookie tells you that he's only going to be getting better, and that he's just scratching the surface of his potential, and that there's a pretty good chance that he is a top 3 center on the Canadians now and in the future. But it's always fun to speculate and to predict. But again, I'm a little less inclined to try to pigeonhole players when they're just starting out their NHL careers. It's because more often than not, you don't get your prediction isn't bang on. Sheldon Hughes. Thank you, Sheldon. Sheldon, by the way, is a member. My first member to actually send me a bit of cash on YouTube. Hey, every bit helps. I'm just getting rolling with this. So, Sheldon, I'm so grateful that you contributed to the cause here and became my first patron on YouTube. And anybody out there that's watching this, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button. You know, you can get notifications of when sometimes these, like I decided at 11:30 that I was doing a podcast today. So, I don't always give a lot of notice. You might want to, subscribe and then hit the notification button on YouTube and you'll be notified when podcasts are coming up. But like this podcast, hype this podcast, subscribe to our YouTube channel. If you want to become a patron, that's even better. That's just icing on the cake. But Sheldon says a good 2C does not have to have first round pedigree. No, absolutely not. Right now, Kapanen is doing everything asked of him. Yeah, I'm not saying he's Patrice Bergeron, but there's a good example, right? A guy picked at the end of the second round who became a first-line center in large part because he's just so good away from the puck, so well-rounded, high IQ. Kapanen is a similar player to Patrice Bergeron. Bergeron, if you go back and look at his stats, he was never a high point producer. Like he never had 90, 100-point seasons, yet he was considered one of the top 10 centers in the league when he played, in large part because he was just so well-rounded, so good defensively, competed, good size, excellent away from the puck, anticipated the play, backed up his wingers all the time, made Marchand and Pasternak better players and gave them more opportunity to focus on offense at times. Kapanen has some of those qualities. So not saying that he's the Kapanen is the next Patrice Bergeron, but if I had to, when talking about a guy that wasn't a first round pick that became a fantastic NHL center, you need to look no further than Patrice Bergeron. Thank you for that comment, Sheldon. Oh, okay. Look at this. Sheldon, you stop it. Oh, okay, actually don't stop it. I love it. Thank you very much. I didn't realize that people could donate a couple bucks cash on here. That's kind of cool. Thank you. My first payment on YouTube. Appreciate it. JP, what do you think about the odds Hage and Fowler breaking into the NHL in the same season? Which season would you anticipate they make their debuts? Well, it doesn't have to be the same season, JP. And thank you very much for that. Hey, please ask me some questions here. I'll try to answer as many as I can. A lot will have to do with how the two goalies are doing that are currently on the Canadiens, right? If Dobes is the real deal, Monty finds his game again, there'll be no rush on Fowler. It could be a year or two. I think Hage is a couple of years away. It might be 2 years from now. If I were to predict that the two of them would come into the NHL at the same time, I would say, what's this, 25, 26, 27, 28. Not next season, but the season after, that you'd see the two of them breaking in. Now, I'm still not entirely convinced that Hage will be a top two center in the NHL. The offensive, he's got the offensive skill to do it, but you have to really be good away from the puck to play a top two center role in the NHL, and that's something that is still a question mark with him. Might he play on the wing in the NHL? Yeah, I think there's probably a better chance of that. I think a good litmus test with Hage will be if he's on the Canadian World Junior team this year, and I fully expect him to be there. Where will he play? Will it be at center? Will it be on the wing? That will give you at least a small glimpse into his pro future. I found that in the past, you've noticed some guys that were centers in junior and college were high picks who, when they had to try to crack a really deep, talented team like Canada's World Junior team always is, they get switched to the wing at times. And to me, it's an indicator of what you might see in the future. But if Hage goes to the World Juniors, plays center, plays really well, it's a better indicator that, yeah, he can handle it, and that he will indeed be a center in the NHL down the road. But we'll see. Kapanen is also not bad on faceoffs. Yeah, somebody mentioned a couple of weeks ago, I think it was JTL, who was saying, oh, well, he's only at 38% or whatever on draws. But that was really early on. And I've noticed he's up to 48% on his faceoffs. A rookie NHL center typically has some. You don't see many that are 50 plus their first year. It's just something that takes experience. I think more than maybe than anything else, it's difficult for you rarely see a young NHL center come in and win 55+% of his draws. It's typically around 50, often below 50. So for him to be at this point winning 48% of his draws, I think is a good sign. I like his face-off technique. He's a big boy. He's strong. I think that he has a lot of potential to be an above-average face-off guy. So for him to be at 48% right now, I think bodes well for the future. I think he's going to be a solid NHL face-off guy. All right, a few more questions, a few more comments, and we'll wrap her up here. We're past the lunch hour. Ross Hare, at this point of the season, put points in the bank. Internal politics will sort themselves out later. Yeah. I guess you're referring to the Monty Dobes dilemma. I play who's hot, right? But you need both goalies going. Montreal is going to contend when they have two goalies that are playing well, and right now only one is, and they have to get Monty going. If they don't, you might even see Fowler before the end of this year. Like, Canadians are in win now mode. They're not messing around. They need two goalies that can win them games, and that's what the club's trying to do. So if Monty's in goal tonight, I think it makes sense. Come back with him against the team that's struggling. Hope that they continue to struggle and only score one or two goals like they have the last 6 games. Monty has a good game. He starts to get his confidence back, and they've got two goalies that are playing well. That's ultimately what you want, right? I'm saying it'd be great if Captain becomes our Lundell. Oh, okay, yeah. Well, yeah, that's the type of player he is. I don't, it's a decent comparison. They also both happen to be Finnish, right? I think Kapanen's a little better skater. Lundell's a little bigger. Obviously, he's accomplished more at the NHL level at this point. But yeah, there there's some similarities there, and that's a decent comp, I think. Yes. Okay. Well, again, does Keaton Verhoff have a good chance to be on the World Junior team? From what I've seen so far, it's a possibility, but I mean, the fact that he's stepped right into North Dakota and he's playing a regular role and looks pretty decent, he's got the attributes to play on the World Junior team. Certainly, Schaefer stepped in last year and showed. I think they're getting more comfortable with having a draft eligible defenseman in the lineup than in the past. It will depend somewhat on how many of the drafted guys are available. Like if if all the big wigs are playing are made available, other than Schaefer. Schaefer won't be there, obviously, but if all of the guys that are still eligible end up playing, then yeah, it'll be tough for him to find a role at this point. But he's got to be on the radar. He's certainly talented enough. They tend not to. Not very often bring the underage, the guys that are in their draft years to play, but Verhoff definitely has that capability. That's a good question. Thank you very much. All right, anyone got a couple other quick questions? I'm going to wrap it up here if you don't. I'm not sure who you mean there, LPB. Are you talking about Verhoff? He, if you are, then I think I just answered that question. Sheldon Hughes, I believe Crosby was sub 50 on draws in his draft year. Yeah. Or sorry, in his rookie season. Most are. You don't see too many. When you look at face-off stats, like all the top guys, you'll see the odd rookie or second-year player in there, but it's rare. Like very few have it figured out right off the bat. Like even somebody as good on face-offs as Beck in junior. Like he went to the AHL last year and he discovered, these savvy 27, 28-year-old, 8-year pros are pretty good on face-offs. There's so many tricks to it. It's the only thing that makes you a really good face-off man is reps at the pro level, learning all the tricks, learning what it takes to win draws, repetition, experience, and then eventually you become a really good face-off man. It's rare that a guy just steps in and he's great right off the bat. This is an interesting question from Gaza. Can Dobes make the Olympic team for the Czechs? I can't off the top of my head. I don't know that the Czechs likely have some decent goalies. If someone wants to write down a couple off the top of my head, I don't know the whole, the 5 or 6 that he'd be competing against, but maybe. I think what would have to happen would be that he'd have to win the starting job quickly here and really impress. But you know, he might be in the running. You never know. Uh, Rick does. Yeah, Rick, please get a dedicated mic. The audio is so bad. Yeah. Well, again, you missed the start of the show. Rick came on at work on the work laptop and didn't have his microphone, so we knew that it wouldn't be great, and we hope that you understand why, and that yes, in the future, I'm not going to invite him on at the last minute. Make sure what I told him to do is, you know, bring his his webcam with him, and there's a decent microphone on that. So when we do have these impromptu invitations to come on without a lot of notice, he'll have a decent mic. And again, we apologize for him not being overly clear at the start. So Montreal have enough size and grit to compete in the playoffs? That's a good question, Aaron. And I guess we won't really find that out till playoff time, will we? When you have that much skill, and I don't think there's any soft players on the team, you can compensate for maybe not being the biggest and the grittiest. It's a good question, but like who on the, you know, Brendan Gallagher isn't big, but would you call him gritty? I would. Demidov's a rookie. Would you call him gritty? Yeah, I think he's got grit. He's shown that he has grit. Laine Hudson, not the biggest guy, right? But would you say he's soft? Absolutely not. Plenty of grit. Pound for pound, one of the grittiest players in the league, as far as I'm concerned. So, you know, Anderson, Doc, Jack-Eye, Struble, you know, there's some sandpaper there. Kapanen has shown that he's not, you know, he's not soft, unlike what some people have said in the past. Suzuki, I have no issues with him physically. He can take any pounding. Slav, obviously, you know, size and grit both. Caulfield, I rarely see him get knocked down. You know, you just he rarely is in a position where he gets knocked down, and he's strong as an ox, really strong lower body. So lots of grit there too, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think this team lacks grit. Are they full of big bruising fighters? No, but that doesn't win you playoff time either. How many big gritty guys did Edmonton have last year and the year before? Not very many. They predominantly advanced to the Cup Finals and came within a game of winning 2 years ago, based on their skill and talent. So, you know, I think that we'll see at playoff time if they make the playoffs. I'm not guaranteeing that they do. You know, if they pick up, I don't know, Sidney Crosby at the trade deadline, that's a pretty gritty addition too, right? Like Crosby may not be the tallest guy in the world, but he personifies grit at the NHL level, as far as I'm concerned. Depends on your definition of grit to a certain degree, Aaron, I think. You know, and I think the Canadians don't lack grit. There's plenty of it in the lineup, and I probably even missed a couple of guys. You know, like Jake Evans plays. You know, he's not afraid, and he goes to the dirty areas. Zach Bolduc, or I didn't even think of him. Zach's not the tallest guy, but he is really thick and strong and goes to the dirty areas. He was a good addition. Dobson isn't the, physical player, but he's big, so there's size there. Matheson's playing a gritty style. I like Goalie. I think Goalie plays gritty. So, it's I think that there's enough talent there to overcome any perceived concerns there might be about them lacking a bit of size and sandpaper. But a good question, and hopefully we find out a playoff time. Okay, Renaud Lavoie is saying Montembeault, Delgaizo, and Doc are the only player on ice for optional skate. Okay. Well, I think what this means is saying that, and good. Hey, MSL Marty has shown that he's going with it's a meritocracy this year. He is playing who is, the guys that are playing well get in the lineup. So I think it's great that that's the case, and I hope this means obviously that that Montembeault's sitting this game, and maybe their thinking is, hey, they still look at Monty as the number one, and they want Monty to play against Edmonton and not to shatter the confidence that Dobes has already garnered so far this season, and hope that he keeps playing as well as he did. That's one possibility. The other is you go with the hot hand. So it's a combination of both. And when a goalie is struggling a bit, sometimes the best option is to let the other guy play a little more, keep practicing on what, the issues that are plaguing you at this point. Try to work on your confidence and get in the right mindset. And when you do get back in there, hope that you're playing better. So, hey, that's great. No surprise that Delgado and Doc aren't playing. As I say, you don't typically have one practice and they're back in the lineup. But good thing that I'm glad to hear that Doc is back skating. I think it indicates that he's probably in the next game, and that's good. LPB, that tells me MSL doesn't take the Calgary game for granted. Grant. Believe me, I love puns. I've got no issue with that. MSL said that Bullock needs to play the game in front of him. What does that mean? Well, I don't know. I guess it means that he wants him maybe to forecheck a little harder. That's a good question. Maybe somebody has the answer to that. I didn't hear the whole quote, or sometimes it's taken in context. It depends on what the question was that was asked. But Bolduc has not been as strong the last couple of games, and him getting put down onto the fourth line, maybe there was more to it than just balancing things out. When he playing him with Veleno and Beck, maybe Marty hasn't been thrilled with his last couple of games after the fast start. So I don't know, but that's interesting. I wonder if he'll still be on the top power play. I haven't. That's interesting. Demidov could replace him if he doesn't start scoring from the bumper spot and keeps flubbing on the shots there. you'll see. I think you'll see Demidov in the on the first power play sooner rather than later. All right, guys. Oh, here's Rick. Last season, said that to him. It means reacting to the play itself, not trying to do what you would like to do, but what makes sense. Okay. Rick, you're talking about Bolduc, and I'm not quite sure why he would have said that to him last season, given that, Marty was not the coach of the St. Louis Blues, but maybe you can clarify that for me a little bit. But yeah, little less standing around, a little more doing is probably what he means. Just don't overthink things. Forecheck, get in there, use your speed and size. Play a gritty style and utilize your assets that include his strength and his size, right? And yeah, that makes sense. Bolduc has been a little less impressive, I thought, in the last 2 or 3 games. So, hey, it good. Maybe this is a sign that we're going to see Demidov on that first power play, replacing Bolduc sooner than later. All right, folks. I think that probably will wrap things up. We're not getting too many more questions. It's well past lunch hour now. I think I'll probably do a podcast after the game. Use the same term last season. Oh, okay. Use the same term last season at the start of the year when the team struggled. Okay, gotcha. Okay. So he said that to them, not him. Now I understand what you're saying. Quickly, Ron Williamson. Hey, come in with the... Don't want me to leave, eh, Ron? I got to go have something. I haven't eaten yet today either, so we'll wrap this up in a few minutes. What are your thoughts on Jarosky? Well, if you watched my last podcast, Ron, we had a tape, we had a video on him, and I made a bunch of comments. So if you missed that one, maybe tune in and have a look and see what I had to say about him. I think that will answer your question better than I can right now at the last minute when we're wrapping things up. Thanks for the question, Ron. Thanks for all the questions, everybody. Thanks, Rick, for coming on. We'll make sure that we got a dedicated mic before we have you on again at these impromptu requests the last minute requests to get you on here, Rick. I always appreciate it, even if the sound was a little muddled. I could still hear you. If people had trouble hearing Rick, maybe try headphones and you'll be able to hear what he had to say. Okay, 862 midweek lunchtime. You gotta love those numbers. Thanks again, everybody. And we're building up a good community here. Thank you. Please subscribe. Please like this episode. And I think I'm going to be on tonight after the game. It's going to be 11 o'clock, 11:30. Hopefully people, it may not be a real long show, but we'll likely come on after. And I hope all you fine folks, can join me for a post-game Habs celebration. Here's hoping. Okay. Great show. Thank you, everybody. And we'll hopefully see you tonight after the game.